Blessed Saturday morning to everyone. I'm Joyda from Sower Institute for Biblical Discipleship. Thank you for joining us in this special Q&A session on managing CPF as part of the Financial Stewardship and Sustainability series. This program is brought to you in conjunction to the 40th anniversary of the Evangelical Alliance of Singapore, jointly organized by the Sower Institute for Biblical Discipleship, co-organized by the Asian Evangelical Alliance and Alliance of Indian Ministries. This program is also supported by Providend Ltd, founded by Christopher Tan, who is our main speaker for this series. Before we begin, a few gentle reminders for this session. Please note that your microphone is muted by default. If you have any questions for our speaker, you may type them in the chat box at any point of time during the session. Before we start, may I invite Reverend Ezekiel Tan, General Secretary of Bible Society of Singapore and Evangelical Alliance of Singapore, to open today's question and answer with a few words and opening prayer. Reverend Ezekiel Tan, please.
Thank you, Joyda. Very good morning to pastors, leaders, brothers and sisters. And I believe all of you would agree with me how much we have been blessed by our dear brother Christopher Tan over the past many weeks. Almost everyone that I've spoken to indicated how much they have been enriched by all these sessions by our dear brother Christopher. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Pastor Chia Bing Hock, who has endorsed him and recommended him to all of us. And on behalf of the Bible Society of Singapore and Evangelical Alliance of Singapore and all our partners, our hearty thanks and appreciation to him, and pray that as he has blessed us, God will bless him manifold. I want to indicate or share with you especially that this session, this extra session, is the extra mile that he has proposed for us to extend to you because of the many questions that you have asked, and Christopher therefore felt that it is necessary to have another extra session to answer the questions that many of you may have but not able to do so because of the time limit. It is very touching to see that he has such a passion and such a burden to be able to educate the Christian community here, so that during the pandemic, we can have these tools and tips to be able not only to overcome the challenge, but to be wise unto investing our future with enough resource, not only to take care of ourselves and our families, but able to also help others around us with the same, sharing the same knowledge, and be able to live comfortably serving God. I think this shows the sincerity and that kind of heart and character that Christopher has. So we want to thank him and pray that you will be enriched this morning as you have been also in other sessions. Let's come to the Lord in prayer. Father, we want to commit this morning unto your loving hands. Even though we are in the midst of the pandemic, we know you are our shepherd, our Jehovah Jireh, and we shall not let anything, as we incline towards you, believing that, Lord, you are the God who would take care of your people, and that you will bless us so that we can be, in turn, not only having enough, but bless those around us, especially the poor and needy among us. We want to pray especially for your many blessings to be bestowed upon Christopher Providend, his team members, and their family members. Lord, we have been so blessed by the wisdom and the knowledge and the insight that through Christopher you have given unto us. Help us, Lord, not to be selfish, but to put all this that you have given to us into the investment of eternity, investment of your kingdom and your righteousness, and believe that you will add upon us all that we need so that we can shine in this time and this season of gloom, of distress, of uncertainty, that, Lord, those who see how we live our life in faith, in joy, would be attracted unto you. We want to commit all that, Lord, we have been entrusted to do in the days ahead unto you, and know that, Lord, because you are our God, that we would be able to have more than sufficient to continue the good work that you have trusted us, and especially Christopher and his team in the days ahead, that we can claim all the successes overcoming this pandemic because you are with us. We want to give you thanks and pray for a shalom peace over us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Reverend Tan. So we will begin. For most of us here, you would have known Christopher, as we have heard from his insightful sharing on being a good steward for God-given financial resources from the past 6 sessions. For those who are joining us for the first time, we welcome you, and do allow me to introduce Christopher to you. Christopher is the CEO of Providend Ltd. He has a vast experience in the wealth management and financial planning industry. He is a certified financial planner and a member of the Financial Planning Association of Singapore. In 2014, Christopher was appointed by the Singapore government to be part of the CPF advisory panel. So for this morning, we have the best person to help us understand CPF better. Christopher, do you want to say hi to our participants before we start?
Yeah, sure. Very good morning to each one of you, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. Can't believe that this is actually the 7th session already. I almost feel like we are a church that we meet almost every week. I just want to thank Joyda for all the past coordinations, the past probably 2 months. Yeah, and also Pastor Chia for introducing me to this community. It is really more a blessing for me to be able to share this with all of us. And of course, Reverend Ezekiel for allowing me to speak to each one of you. Initially, I didn't mean to sort of like open with a few words, but I thought that I just want to share this. Thank you, Reverend Ezekiel. I just want to share this, that just last week, one of my pastors, Pastor Chua Chung Kai, was just saying that Singapore is really blessed because I think God has spared us from this COVID-19. I mean, if we look at how fast we have turned, I mean, besides the fact that we have, of course, we have got a good government that has managed the situation very well, but I think God has indeed spared us from the pains that we see from so many countries. I mean, for the past few weeks, we see the numbers going down. I think for the last 7 days, yesterday was the second time whereby we have 0 locally transmitted COVID-19 cases. And we don't take this for granted because we look at the more developed countries like the US. I just read that Spain is really in a bad shape. I really love Spain because it's one of the countries that I visited, and my family actually love the Spanish people because they are very friendly. But yeah, I mean, they are going through so much pain and suffering, you know, with so many deaths. Not only are we spared for that many from that many infections, but our death rate is very low. So we are indeed blessed. But it also reminded me of the fact that, you know, we actually have a very good CPF system that is actually a lot of times misunderstood. Sometimes we hear a lot of fake news. So unfortunately, people misunderstand what CPF is really about. But it is my deep conviction, after spending 2 years with the CPF advisory panel, I cannot say the same for other policies because we know that our government is never perfect, and there will be policies that sometimes they don't work. In fact, I just wrote a piece on Business Times today about one of the policies that I felt that went wrongly. But after spending 2 years with the CPF advisory panel, The one thing I can say from my own personal experience, looking at the MOM people, the CPF board people, is that actually everybody have that desire in all the policies that they try and make. There's only one objective, and that is really to take care of the retirement adequacy for Singaporeans. Yeah, and that one thing I can say, sometimes the policy may not come out 100% correctly, but at least the intention is right. It's never to actually benefit any one of them. And so that's one thing I can share. I want to go straight into the questions because I know there are many, but if I get a chance later, because one of you actually wrote to me and asked me about why am I so confident that CPF is able to deliver that return, you know, and all that. I actually explained to this, I think it was a gentleman, my understanding. But I hope maybe towards the end, Jordan, I can get maybe about 5 minutes or 7 minutes to explain how our CPF monies are being managed. Yeah. And so maybe hopefully that gives you a bit more confidence, yeah, with that. Many of you wrote to me. I think I answered almost everyone. I believe that I may have missed out one or two. My apologies if I couldn't reply to all of you. Normally, I take a long time to turn around my email, so I apologize for that. Yeah, with that, Jordan, we can start the Q&A.
Right. Yeah. So we already have some questions that came in earlier in our forms. So I'll start right for the first question. This is regarding special account and full retirement sum. So, hi Chris, I'm 53 years old and understand that once I reach 55 years old, I will not be able to transfer from OA to SA. So should I top up my SA to the full retirement sum FRS or the basic retirement sum BRS before 55?
Yeah, so it's a good question. Okay, so firstly, absolutely right, that once you reach 55 years old, you can no longer transfer from your OA to your SA. After 55, you cannot top up your special account anymore, whether by cash or by CPF, you can't do that. You can only top up your RA. So remember that after 55, the account that you can do a top up is actually your retirement account. Okay, now whether or not before 55, in this case 53 years old, should you top up your SA, whether through cash or through your OA, really depends on you. Yeah, we just have to understand that if you don't top up your SA, it may mean that later on your RA will have lesser, and it will mean that at 65 your CPF life payout annuity will be lesser. Make sense, right? Because if you have lesser in your SA now, you will have lesser in your RA, then at 65, you will just have lower annuity payout. So if you want to have a higher annuity payout, then it just makes sense for you to actually top up your SA or RA later. Yeah. Now, what are the advantages of topping up your SA today? Well, the key is that you have the extra 2 years of runway to get the 4%. Yeah, because if you leave it in your OA, you're only getting 2.5. If you have cash, then you're only getting the normal bank interest rate. Yeah, but if you put it in, you earn the extra 4% for 2 years. But the main con or the main disadvantage is that you have to accept that you lose liquidity. Yeah, because the minute you transfer to your SA, it is an irreversible decision. Yeah, so I have joked before and I say that, you know, putting your money in your CPF is like joining secret society, right? Hey, Sir Hui. Because very easy to join, very hard to come out on. You put in one way, you want to come out, very, very difficult. Okay, I say very difficult because there are cases whereby people really need money. And that case-by-case basis, they have to go to CPF board and apply. And on a case-by-case basis, CPF board may allow you to reverse a decision. But most of the time, it is a one-way. Yeah, you go in, you cannot come out anymore. So it is your personal decision. Just make sure that you don't put in so much into your SA at this age, such that you don't have liquidity. And if you have an emergency, then you're in trouble. Okay, so I hope that answers that question. I think there's a second part to that question, right, Jordan? Is there a second part?
No, there was just a statement that understand that salary will still go to OA, SA after 55.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So after work, when you work, right, that's what we call working contributions. So working contributions continue for as long as you work. Yeah. It's just that working contribution will be allocated into your 3 accounts. in different percentages based on different age band. So it is still possible that after 55, your SA will still grow, because you have your normal working contributions. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so if they have the excess money in their SA, so after reaching the FRS, so what can they do with the excess?
Well, it's cash. It's as good as cash, right? So you can take out anytime if you want after 55. Yeah, but if you want to take out, if you don't want to, you can leave it inside. Yeah, and that is the best place to live inside, because if you have got sufficient cash in your bank that funds your retirement lifestyle, then you should take from your bank first. You always take from the lower interest rate first, right? The higher interest rate, you keep it for as long as possible. So your special account is of the higher interest rate, so you don't touch it unless you need it. But if you need to withdraw money from your CPF, okay, just remember the sequence always is they will force you to take out from your SA first. Higher interest rate, so you take out first. The liability on the government is lower. Makes sense, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so there's another question about OA. So if I have extra money in my OA, can I use it to top up my spouse RA to reach the enhanced retirement limit?
Yeah, you can, as long in your own SA or in your own RA, you have met your own basic retirement sum, okay, which currently is 88,500. Yeah, it's 181 divided by 2. My brain is not working very well today. Yeah, so if you got half of the full retirement sum, okay, half of the 181K, if you meet it yourself, you can then transfer to your spouse. Okay, if you don't meet, then you can't. Okay, because the idea is like when we are on a plane, right? We always hear this briefing on the plane, right? If the oxygen mask falls from the top, who do you put on first? Yourself or your kid? Ourselves, always. We take care of ourselves first, then we can take care of other people. So in the same way, you always must make sure that you have at least the BRS. If you are before 55 in your SA, after 55 in your RA, once you meet that BRS, the excess in OA, yeah, you can transfer to your spouse.
Okay, so Christopher, you have also mentioned about buying a low risk product using special account a month before reaching 55. So can you share like what kind of low risk products may it be? Yeah.
Okay, so let me type it in the chat so that everybody can see it.
Thank you.
Global Short Duration Bond Fund, that's one of them. Okay, or you can buy the United means United Overseas Bank, United SGD Fund, I think. Yeah, either one, no problem. Okay, so these funds are actually very, very low risk, okay, and perhaps it is worth the effort for me to share my screen again to explain this, because I do get quite a bit of emails from all of you, and it got me really worried, okay, because I'm afraid that I may not have been clear, and then we go and do things wrongly. Okay, so it got me really worried. Okay, somebody asked short duration is how many years? Lion Global Short Duration. Okay, thanks for asking that question. Okay, so how should I explain this? Okay, so when I say short duration, it is a technical term. Okay, it doesn't mean that this bond fund you buy, you got to keep for 3 years, 2 years, not like that. Okay, it is a fund that you can put in and you can take out anytime. You can put in today, tomorrow you can take out. Full liquidity. There is no lock-in. It's not an insurance endowment whereby you buy, you have to keep until 3 years and then it mature. It's not like that. Okay, you can put in anytime and you can take out anytime. The word duration is a technical language that describes how sensitive a bond is to interest rate. Okay, because when interest rate goes up, bond price drop. Okay, and this is a CPF session. I shan't go into explaining it. Yeah, but just know that generally speaking, when interest rate goes up, okay, the bond price drop. Okay, now the longer the duration, okay, the bond is more sensitive to interest rate movements. Okay, so if you have a very long duration, and it generally means, it doesn't always mean, but it generally means that the bonds are of a longer maturity, okay, generally, yeah. But the longer the duration, the more sensitive the bond is to interest rate. So if the interest rate goes up, the bond will drop a lot more than a short duration one. Conversely, if interest rates starts to go up, a longer duration will fall more than the shorter duration one. Okay, so now remember, we are actually trying to park our special account money just for a while. Okay, and we don't want to take risks. And therefore, should we go for the long duration or the short duration one? We should go for the short duration one, so that if interest rate fluctuate, because it is a short duration bond fund, the price moves lesser. So it's less volatile. Okay, that's why it is the Lion Global short duration bond. It describes the bond. Okay, or the United SGD, also very short duration. If my memory serves me right, we are talking about a duration of 2 or something like that. Okay, this is very technical, so don't bother. So let me share my screen on this, because I am very concerned that I say the wrong things or I wasn't clear.
Christopher, while you are sharing this, someone asked me with regards to the two that you have shared, right? They were asking how and where to buy this. Yeah, so if you want to answer it later.
Okay, wait, let me unshare first because it's the wrong slide. Stop share. Okay, where can you buy this? You can actually just buy it off fundsupermart.com. Some of you may be familiar with this online site, Fundsupermart. Yeah, you got to open an account. It's a bit troublesome, but it can be done. Not difficult at all. So you can buy over Fundsupermart. Okay, and you go and search Lion Global short duration bond. If you have got a financial advisor, you can also ask your financial advisor to help you buy. But remember, after you buy it, don't buy other things with your special account. Okay, so just buy this. Okay, so let me explain it. I'll try and be fast because I saw a lot of questions coming in. Let me see. Okay, so let me try and explain this again. What do I mean when I say optimize your CPF? Because some of you ask whether some of you are younger and you're in your 40s, and when you send an email to me, you are already asking me what to buy, and I got worried because you shouldn't buy it too early. Okay, but let me explain it by using the slide. Jordan, you can see my slide, right? Okay, so this is what happens. Okay, so this is what happened. What happened to a person just before he turned age 55. So let's say just before he turns age 55, this is the amount he has in his OA, and this is the amount he has in his SA, 200K each, one at 2.5%, and the other one, as we know it, is at 4%. Now at age 55, CPF board will always take from your special account to fund the retirement account. So that's what they will do. They will take first from your special account, full retirement sum, which is 181K today, and transfer it into your RA. And so you will see now your RA amount will drop. Okay, so you see here, it will drop now to 19K, right? Because 181 has been transferred here. Okay, so after age 55, this is what you will see. Your OA still has 200K untouched. Your SA has got 19K, okay, and your RA now has got 181K. Okay, this is after age 55. Okay, now, what do we mean by optimizing? Okay, so it's the same situation. OA 200K, SA 200K. Now, by optimizing, what I'm saying is that just before age 55, and you notice the title, I specifically mentioned 1 month. Now, you don't have to do exactly 1 month, 3 weeks also can, but I gave 1 month leeway because sometimes we have people like 1 week before they want to do this, super rush, then it's really kanchong, So usually we say 1 month, give you a bit of leeway, 1 month. Okay, so 1 month before you turn 55, okay, what you can do is that you will take out, in this example, 160K. Why 160K? Is because there is a rule that says that the first 40,000 in your special account cannot be invested on. So no choice. So you only can, in this case, invest 160K. So then you will take out 160K from your special account, and buy this low risk instrument, which I've given you, Lion Global Short Duration or United SGD Fund. Okay. And then your SA now become 40K. Now, at age 55, remember, CPF board will always take money from SA to form the RA, right? So they will come to your SA and they want to take 181, but don't have. All they see is 40K. So they'll wipe out the full 40K, okay? But they still need to make up the remaining of the 181K, which is 141K, right? So you will take OA 141K. Now your SA is gone, no more money already. But your OA will drop now to 59K. Okay, and this will form your RA of 181. Okay, so after age 55, you now will sell away this because you really don't want to leave it in this instrument, because this instrument will give you very low return. It will give you like 1-2% return only. So you sell it off and then you move it back to your SA, and your SA is back to 160K. So if you compare the two options, the end state is this. If you don't optimize it before optimizing, okay, this is what happened. Your OA has got more money than your SA, which is not bad, but not ideal, because you want SA to have more money than your OA, given the fact that your SA attracts a higher interest rate. So this is what you want. Your end state is you have lesser money in your OA and more money in your SA. Now, so if we understand this, I hope we understand why I say that you don't buy this low risk instrument too early. There are unscrupulous salespeople who take this concept and they sell to people whom even when they are young. Okay, but you see, if today you are 35 years old or 40 years old and you go and transfer your money out, okay, let me backtrack a bit. Okay, let's say this is what you do and you are only 45. You are investing 160K. If you buy in a low risk instrument, it doesn't make sense, right? Because this is only giving you 1-2%. Your SA is giving you 4%. You are transferring out too early. You are losing like 10, 20 years, depending on your age you do this. You are losing like 10, 20 years of the high interest rate in SA in exchange for a low interest rate. So it doesn't make sense to do too early. Some people will try and sell you something that gives you, or they tell you that potentially can give you a higher return than your SA. But if you remember my CPF lesson, I have said that please do not invest your special account. Even though there is a potentially higher return instrument, you should not do it because the risk premium is not worth it. Because your SA is already giving you 4% guaranteed. Even if you buy this instrument that potentially can give you 6%, and I say potentially, most people experience a lousier return than SA. But even if can potentially give you the 6%, for that extra 2% return that you can get, the additional risk that you have to take in additional to the it is not worth it, because SA is zero risk, it's AAA. Yeah, so I hope that is clear. Okay, so let me now unshare. And I think, Jordan, I've answered the question, right?
Yeah, okay. So this is about this. I think there's a few more questions about OA and SA. Do you want to answer them first?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so can we keep our money in OA as long as we wish? This is
the answer is yes.
Okay, good. And then if I've reached the ERS, can I top up my SA after 55? Can I withdraw from OA? Is this answered just now?
Yeah, so it's the same question. Remember, after 55, you can only top up which account? Special or retirement account. After 55, once your retirement account is open, you can only always top up your RA. Okay, so just be mindful of that.
Okay. Yeah, so remember, after 55, if your RA is open, you can only top up that, correct?
You can only top up your RA, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll just continue with the question that we have. All right, I'm 40 years old this year. I have majority of my funds in SA and MediSave, 3 endowment fund policies with a mid 5-digit cash savings, and no insurance policy as I'm not qualified for it. Can I diversify or reverse my investments?
Okay, I'm not sure whether I really understand your question. Okay, my apologies if I don't. When you say reverse your investment, I assume that it means your endowment plans lah, because that's from what I heard, from what I hear, that is all that you have. So an endowment plan is not really an investment. It is really just an insurance savings. And once you buy into an endowment plan, early surrender usually will mean that you will lose money. Yeah, and so I'm not I'm not I'm not encouraging you to do that really. Yeah, I think if you are able to, please continue to pay for your endowment plan and wait for it to mature. Yeah, but if affordability is an issue, then there are other ways to do it, which I don't have time to actually talk about now. Yeah, I'm sorry that you are not insurable, but the good news is all of us in Singapore, as long as you are a Singaporean or a PR, we will have MediShield Life. Okay, and MediShield Life has just gone through a review, and quite likely whatever recommendations that the MediShield Life Review Committee make to the government is going to be accepted. It is going to have a higher coverage. It's going to cover more things. You will still have insurance coverage as long as if you are sick, just make sure that you stay in a B2 and C ward. Don't go anything higher. Okay. As long as you stay in the B2 and C ward with MediShield Life, it should cover almost 100% of your medical expenses. Yeah. So I can't, because I'm not sure whether I understand you correctly. I don't think you should reverse your endowment plan because you likely will lose money if you do that.
Okay, thank you. So Christopher, during your CPF talk, which is the session 2, you have probably didn't have time to talk about SRS.
Yeah.
So they would like to hear from you your views about it and the consideration of opening an SRS account, including what are the best ways to invest it.
Yeah, so SRS stands for Supplementary Retirement Scheme. This scheme was put together by Ministry of Finance in 2002 to complement the CPF scheme. Yeah, so SRS is not CPF. So let's be very clear. SRS and CPF, they are two different schemes. Yeah, now SRS is open to locals as well as foreigners to contribute. And the primary purpose of SRS is actually for retirement. But to encourage you to save for retirement, the government gives some tax incentives if you contribute to SRS. Very simply put, okay, every year, the amount that you put into your SRS account is exempted from tax. Okay, but there is a maximum for Singaporeans and PR, okay, that we can put into SRS, and that amount is $15,300. Okay, so let's say every year you want to transfer the most, which is 15.3K into your SRS account. Okay, next year assessment, let's say this year I do it, and as long as I do it before 31st of December this year, okay, and I put in 15.3K into my SRS account before 31st December this year, next year during my notice of assessment period, my 15.3K is exempted from tax. I don't have to pay tax. Okay, you don't even have to declare, it's auto. Okay, you'll see in your IRR8, not IRR8, your notice of assessment form that the government knows already somehow. Okay, the 15.3K is not taxable. How do you then open up an SRS account? You can open up an SRS account with any of the 3 local banks. At any point in time, you can only have one SRS account. Okay, so it's either DBS, UOB, or OCBC. Okay, you can open the account online. It takes less than 5 minutes to open online. Okay, and once you open, you can do a bank transfer into this account. It's done. But because it is a retirement scheme, and because the government gives you some tax incentive for it, okay, there is penalty for early withdrawal. Okay, early withdrawal means that if you withdraw before age 62, which is currently the statutory retirement age. If you withdraw age 62, anything that you withdraw is subject to a 5% penalty. Plus, the amount you withdraw, say you withdraw $20,000, will be added on to your this year's income and tax next year. So it's a double whammy. Whatever you withdraw gets slapped with a 5% penalty first, and then this amount is taken as your income because you didn't pay the last time you contribute, right? So now you got to pay for it. So you will add on to your current income and be taxed next year. So it is really not meant for your early withdrawal. Now, this 62 years old may change when we change our statutory retirement age. Yeah? And it's quite likely in the next few years, our stat retirement age might be changed to age 65. So for those of you who are very keen to do SRS and you want to lock into this 62 years old withdrawal age, you can actually open an SRS account now and put in $1. You just transfer $1. Once you put in $1, you locked in the stat retirement age to 62 already. Okay. Now, should you do it or should you not do it? Now, so it depends. The first thing you got to ask yourself is whether you like the loss of liquidity or not. Yeah, because you go in, right? You take out too early, you get slapped with a penalty, right? So you must accept that you will lose some form of liquidity. Not as bad as CPF, because CPF you can't even take out. This one you can, but you have to pay penalty. So you got to accept that. Okay. And secondly, is it worth it to be locked in for the tax exemption? Because some of us in this room, we have a lot of tax relief already, and actually we don't even pay tax, right? And the maximum tax relief that you can have is 80,000. So some of us in this room, ladies, you have children, you know, you have the woman's tax relief is better than the man. Yeah, this is what we call gender equality. The woman tax relief is better than the man. This is gender equality by the woman's definition, right? So because of that, some of you may already hit your 80,000 limit. So by contributing SRI, it doesn't help at all. And then you get locked in, right? So it doesn't make sense, right? Yeah. So you got to ask yourself, does it make sense or not? If I contribute SRS and I don't have any more additional tax advantages, and even if you have additional tax advantages, you got to ask yourself whether it's worthy or not, because some of us, we don't pay a lot of tax. Right? And if you don't pay a lot of tax or you don't pay tax at all, then the SRS doesn't make sense because you get yourself locked in for nothing, right? Right? The second question you got to ask yourself is, how long are you locked in? A lot of my clients who are in the 50s love SRS. Why? They have only maximum about 10 years or less than 10 years that they can withdraw already. Plus, at this age of their career, their income is at their highest, and therefore they save a lot of tax. So it makes sense. Yeah. A lot of younger people, like in their 20s and 30s, they don't like SRS because they get locked in for 40 years, right? And plus their income is very low. Maybe fresh graduate, they earn $3,000-$4,000. They don't even pay tax, or they pay a few $100s tax. It's not worth it. So you see, it's a balance between losing control and the tax that you save. And you got to make that decision yourself. Finally, okay, that question is the hardest for me to answer. What do you invest in? There are 1,001 things you can invest using your SRS account. You can use it to buy some insurance policies, endowment plans. You can use it to buy bonds. You can use it to buy some unit trust. So it's very hard for me to tell you what exactly you should invest, because what you should invest depends on your objectives, your risk tolerance, which we talk about during the investment portion. Yeah. And I shouldn't just, in a very broad stroke manner, tell you what you should be investing in. Okay, Jordan.
Okay, yeah. So we have quite a number of questions that is in the chat room with regards to the retirement account and all. So I think we better clear it before it starts to have too many of them. Okay. Yeah. So let's do this first. Okay, if my wife RA is top up to FRS amount, and the following year I plan to top up the difference between the current and previous years FRS amount, which is the 5,000K. 5K, between 181K and 186K. Do I have to minus the interest earned by 181K? You get my question?
Yeah, this is a complex question. Okay, so I'm assuming you are before 55. Okay, because there is a difference between before and after. Okay. Okay. Let's assume the person who asked this question, you are before 55 years old. Okay. Okay, let me be more organized when I answer. Okay, so maybe let me first answer this way. Now, the increment in FRS is not every year 5,000. I know it just happens to be like that, but just take note that the increment is 3%. So not always 5,000, right? So if you take 3% times 181, that's the increment. And every year you can actually top up the difference. Okay, that's the first answer. Now, if you are before 55 years old, it's simple. You just look into your SA, and if it is more than that year's FRS, say 186, you cannot top up anymore. Okay, let me repeat. If you are before 55 years old, okay, you log into your CPF account and you see that your SA amount is already more than that year's prevailing FRS. Let's say it's 186. Okay, and you got 187. Okay, it doesn't matter whether that 187, which part is made by interest, which part is made by your capital. It doesn't matter. As long as you see that it is more than that year's FRS, you cannot top up anymore. That's easy, right? It is after 55 that is complicated. Okay, so after 55, you can top up your RA up to ERS, Enhanced Retirement Sum. Okay, and so the current Enhanced Retirement Sum is 271.5K. That's the current Enhanced Retirement Sum. Now, so let's say you go into someone who is above 55 years old, go into the RA and take a look and say, oh, I already got 271.5K. It doesn't mean you cannot top up anymore. It doesn't mean that. Because your 271.5K is made up partly by capital, partly by the interest you gain over the years. Am I making sense? Yeah. And so in that case, you can still top up anything that is above your capital up to 271.5K. Am I clear? Quite heavy going for a Saturday morning. Yeah. So how do you know what part of your 271.5K is made up by capital, what part is made up by interest rates, right? Actually, you don't even have to go through that pain, because if you go through your SingPass, yeah, CPF board actually will tell you how much you can top up. You will see below, right at the bottom, they'll tell you you can still top up your RA by how much. So that's the easy answer. Yeah. So to answer this person's question, it depends on your age. Before 55, the limit includes interest. After 55, the limit does not include interest. Why CPF make it like that? I don't know. It's just very complicated. Okay? Yeah.
So go to CPF, SingPass, log in, and then check how much you can top up.
They'll tell you actually. Yeah. And if you still are in doubt, give a call to CPF board or walk in, and they will tell you how much you can top up.
Thank you so much for this information. Yeah. So what is the interest rate of SRS balance?
SRS is just a normal bank account.
Okay.
So you are getting the 0.05%, which is right now like the bank interest rate, right? It's 0.05. It's a joke, nothing, right? So if you put into an SRS account, you are just getting normal bank's interest rate. And that's why if you want to contribute SRS, you got to buy something. You cannot leave it there. It doesn't make sense to leave it there. Okay, then if you buy something, then it depends on what you buy. You buy an insurance endowment plan, it is probably maybe right now 2%. You can, insurance. I've taken us through the insurance segment, and I've said before, don't bother looking at all the insurance projection that says 3.25, 4.75. It's a projection, firstly. Right? Secondly, as I've explained, that is not your return on your premium. Your actual return from premium will be lower than this amount. And based on experience, a 20-year endowment pays only today about 2% in the long run. Okay, so that's the endowment return. Oh, the one thing I forgot to say about SRS is after age 62, you can withdraw penalty free, right? Yeah. But when you withdraw after age 62, whatever amount that you withdraw, 50% is subject to tax. Let me say that again, 50% of the amount that you withdraw will be added into that year's income and tax. Okay, so there are two ways to avoid tax. One, after 62, you don't earn an income. So if you don't earn an income, the 50% that you withdraw add to no income, it might be so low that you are not taxable anyway. Okay, the second way to lower the incidence of tax is after age 62, the government allow you to withdraw whatever you have in SRS over a 10-year spread. So let's say you got 100,000 in your SRS account and you withdraw over 10 years, it means 10,000 a year, which is very low and you might not have to pay tax. Okay, Joanna, back to you.
Okay, yeah. So just to confirm that this SRS, right? If we were to use the SRS funds to invest, those investment needs to be approved investment. Is that true?
Yeah. It has to be SRS approved investments, but there are a lot of SRS for a lot of financial institutions. We look at SRS like cash. So I would say most of the cash investments are SRS approved anyway. It is the CPF investments that has a smaller lease. Yeah,
okay.
But yes, it has to be SRS approved.
Okay, so if you don't have enough money in SA account, CPF will move all your SA account money and the ordinary account money to RA to make it 181K. Is that true?
Yes. So remember I said this, at age 55, to make up your RA, which account will they go and take first? Yeah, go ahead, Jordan. After
55.
No, before 50, at age 55, right? CPF board to make up your RA amount. Okay, which account will they take the money first? I can see Parin's answer already.
Oh.
Is it OA or SA?
SA.
Always SA first, right?
After 55 is the RA. Is that correct?
No. So, okay, let me say that again.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you are 55 years old, your RA account is open. Now, CPF board will have to take money from your OA and SA to form your RA, right? Amount, right? So I show you the PowerPoint just now. CPF board will take from which account first? SA. Okay. And so they will go to SA. Imagine this CPF board officer physically walk into your SA, and then he open up your SA and he sees how much money you have. Okay. Now, if you have got more than 181K, they will sapu the full 181K and then bring and put into your RA. End of story. If your SA does not have 181K, right, they will take whatever they see in SA, then they will go to the next room, OA, and take out the rest of it to form the 181 for your RA. So to this person's question, you are right. If your SA doesn't have a lot of money, they will take everything from SA and then they will have to take the difference from your OA and put it into your RA. Actually, it's exactly the second example I showed you just now about optimizing. Remember when I showed optimizing, before 55, you go and transfer $160,000 out and your SA is left with 40K. That's the idea. We want we want CPF board to go and try and take from SA and not enough, then take from OA, right? That's what you were trying to do. I know a lot of numbers, and I know some of us is like, oh, I'll be tahan already, so much information.
That is why we need to come for this session and ask you the questions.
Yeah, okay. I will tell you that at about 12:30 today, whatever I've said, you will forget 80%. So you only jot down what matters to you. Okay, what not so important. Don't think too much about it, because I can guarantee you that you will forget anyway. Some of us are very far from 55 years old. Don't think too much as well, because when you reach 55, the government policy will change. You just remember what is relevant to you.
Okay, let me go to the question again. I've lost track. Where am I? Let me take a look.
There is a question, Joyda, I saw
Yep.
in the Word file, right, that talks
Yep.
about the retirement sum scheme one. Maybe you want to read that one out.
Okay. The question about retirement account. Okay. So they have this question about CPF Life. Is that the question? CPF Life monthly payout amount?
No, let me try and check. It is actually question 9.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let me read this out to everyone.
It's a very long question. Okay, maybe Joyda, let me share lah. It's easy for people to visualize.
Thank you.
So let me share the screen. Okay, this will be relevant to many of you, okay? Okay, so this is question 9. Okay, it says here, Christopher, you mentioned that CPF board would only extend the years of payout and not payout amount if there was a top-up made under the retirement sum scheme, okay? The retirement sum scheme in the past is called the minimum sum scheme. So this person said that, Conrad, right? I visited CPF twice recently to double check on RA matters. It seems that one can increase the payout amount by topping up, okay, the RA under retirement sum scheme. No extension of years was mentioned or discussed. Okay. Okay. So let me handle this question first, because I think they are, let me see. Okay. So basically this person is asking this. Let me stop share so we are not distracted. Okay. There are some of you here, and a lot, okay, a lot for those of you who are in the room, I think there are quite a number of you here, you are actually not under CPF Life scheme. You are actually under the old retirement sum scheme, which is called minimum sum scheme. In the past, it was called minimum sum scheme for you lah. Then we changed it to be called RSS, which is retirement sum scheme, right? Now, so for those of you who are under the retirement sum scheme, when you go and top up your RA today, you can top up, you can still top up. When you go and top up your RA today, firstly, CPF board will look at, after you top up, what monthly amount will you get when you top up? I'm going very slow because this is pretty complicated. Now, assuming that when you were 55 years old, okay, this is very difficult to explain. Okay, let me try this again. Okay, my apologies. Let's say today you are 68 years old. When you were 55 years old, your minimum sum was $80,000, let's say. Now, if you had put in $80,000 at 55, when you were 55 years old, let's say you would have gotten $500 per month payout from age 62. That's the old minimum sum. Got it so far? Okay, I cannot see your faces, so I do not know whether I'm speaking in Greek or Hebrew or English. Okay, so I'll say that one more time, okay, because for those of you, you are giving me facial expression that says, Chris, you are speaking rubbish. I don't know what you're talking about. So I will balik one more time. Say today you are 68 years old. When you were 55 years old, your minimum sum requirement was 80,000. Had you put 80,000 then, today you would have received, say, $500 per month. But when you were 55 years old, you didn't put in 80,000 because for whatever reason, maybe you didn't have enough, you only put in 50,000. Got it? Now, instead of receiving $500, you only receive $300 per month because you put in less amount. If you decide to do a top up today into your RA, CPF board will take whatever you top up to increase your monthly amount, because you should be receiving 500 had you put more, but you didn't. CPF board will now take whatever the extra top up that you put in to increase the amount. So far, am I okay? Yeah. How much more will they increase by? Okay. Now it's not so complete, it's not so simple, but let me make it so simple so that we can understand. Under the old minimum sum scheme, whatever you have, once you start drawing down, you will draw down for a 20-year period. Clear? So if you started withdrawing at age 62, it will stop at age 82, 20 years. Right? So they will take whatever amount you have in your RA at age 62 and they just divide by 20, then that's what you get every year. Of course, I ignore the interest or that. I'm just simplifying it. So now you are how old? You are 68 years old. You are only receiving $300 per month. You decide to top up $50,000. Okay. So what CPF board will do is that they will take this $50,000 and you have another, like, how many years before you reach 82? You have another 14 years before you reach 82. They will take this amount, divide by 14 and increase your monthly payout first. Got it so far? Let's say you every year keep topping up. You just keep topping up every year. And after a while, your monthly amount will hit 500 already. Make sense? And the next top up you make, your 500 will not increase because you have reached the 500 that you are supposed to get. Now they are not going to increase the amount anymore. They will actually now extend the number of years of payout. Okay, how long will they extend it? Let's say you have every year your children give you 50,000. Okay, let's say some of us are like laughing, 50,000. Wow, that's not bad. Yeah, but let's say your children give you 50,000 every year, okay, over and above the allowance, they give you 50,000 every year, and you just go and top up and top up and top up and top up and top up, right? So now, instead of a payout of just 20 years, you'll keep increasing at 22, 23, 25 years, and more and more and more and more, right? Until the 90th year. Once the payout reaches 90th year and you go and top up some more, now your monthly payment will go up again. Am I clear so far? Yeah, so I hope that is clear. So the sequence is whatever you top up, they increase your payout first to the amount that you are supposed to get had you reached minimum sum. Okay. After you have reached the amount you're supposed to get, had you put in minimum sum, they will extend the payout period. And once the extension of payout period reaches 90 years old, they will then increase the monthly amount again. This is the sequence. But this is not cast in stone. Why not cast in stone? Because some people, they go to CPF board and they say that, I'm a cancer survivor. I unlikely will go and live until 90 years old. Can you don't extend it? Can you please increase the payout and all that? And case by case basis, CPF board may change that rule. But I'm giving you what is official. Okay, I hope I'm clear. It's very difficult to explain it without a board. Yeah, but that is that answer to that question. Okay, Jordan.
Okay. Yeah, I hope that this has answered Conrad's question because I was visiting CPF website as well and I saw that statement. So yeah, it's good that you have clarified that part.
So Conrad, my apologies because I cut short my answer because for most people, not most, for a lot of people, they already meet their minimum sum already. So that means to say every month they are really receiving, just now the example of $500 a month. And so if they go and top up, they are not going to see an increase in the payout. Instead, it will be extended. I assume that most people meet minimum sum. Yeah, but if at 55, this person didn't put in the amount that is minimum sum, then yes, when you actually go and top up, your monthly amount will actually increase. Okay, so there are three parts to the answer, so it's quite complicated to explain it. Yeah.
Okay, so back to the CPF Life monthly payout question. So this is question number 6, Christopher. Yeah. So will there be a difference between maximizing a CPF retirement account or also I think answered, age 55, or ensure my retirement account is maximized when I reach 65.
Would that be
okay, so this question asks, is there a difference between maximizing my CPF retirement account at 55 or maximize it at 65?
Okay, I'm not sure whether I really understand this question, but put it this way, okay? The earlier you top up your CPF to the max, the more you will get at 65. Why? Because of that 10 years runway you have to gain the interest rate, right? So if I use an example, let's say today, the full retirement sum is 181. And at age 55, you decide to top up your RA to 181. At age 65, you will receive a monthly payout of about 1,004 to 1,005 for life. Let's say you didn't. Let's say you are 55 years old today and you only have got 100,000 in your RA, but you didn't want to top up at 55. You wait until 65 years old to go and top up. And let's say at 65 years old, you go and top up the difference, right, which is 81,000, right? Am I clear here? Yeah? Okay, balik. Let's say at age 55 today, the full retirement sum is 181. Okay? Now, if you had put in 181 in your RA today, 10 years later at age 65, CPF life payout will be about 1,005 for you for life. But let's say today at age 55, you didn't have 181 in your RA. You only have got 100,000 in your RA. And you don't want to top up the 81,000 today, extra 81,000 today. You waited until 10 years later at 65 years old, then you go and top up the $81,000 today. Your monthly payout will not be 1,005. Make sense, right? Because compared to the person who put in 181 at age 55, he is compounding at 4, 5, 6% interest for 10 years already. At age 65, his RA would have saved 300,000, but your RA only has 181. So you receive lesser payout than the guy who started earlier. Yeah. I hope I'm answering that question because I'm not quite sure whether that question was referring to this.
Because I think the same person have asked a similar question. Would there be a difference in CPF life monthly payment amount if my RA is 100% enhanced retirement sum at age 55? So does that mean that the person already have maxed it at 55? So you were saying that it was not maxed yet. So you gave the example of that.
Yeah, so again, you might want to come through the mic and ask me because I'm not very clear of your...
Okay, so later we will get that person. Eric, if you are around, can you show us your video?
You might want to come through the mic and ask me.
Yeah, so Christopher want to ask you personally over here.
It's easier.
Oh yes, okay. I'll ask him to unmute. He can probably ask the question.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi, Eric.
Hi, Christopher. No, I'm talking about if I top up my RA to the enhanced retirement sum, the absolute cap max at age 55, would that then compare it to let it grow slowly at to the enhanced retirement sum until age 65? So when I reach 65, my enhanced retirement sum is totally maxed. It's just the time when I reach it. I reach it at age 55 or I reach it at age 65?
When you say your enhanced retirement sum, okay, because I'm still not very clear. When you say at age 65, you reach your enhanced retirement sum, are you referring to at age 65, your enhanced retirement sum as if you were 55, is it? Because your enhanced retirement sum grows every year.
Yeah, okay, but once it's 55, your enhanced retirement sum is fixed for you, right?
Yes, that's right.
So let's say it's 270,000.
Yes.
Okay, so if it's 270,000, so I make sure that my retirement sum is 270,000 at age 55. So I top it up with cash to all the way up to 270,000 at age 55 in 1 month. So I wait for my RA to be created and I immediately top it up with cash.
Yes.
That means 270,000 will be there for 10 years until I reach 65 and get my monthly payout. Correct? Because anything else above it, I can get drawback by cash. My interest, I can draw out by cash. Because I already hit my absolute cap.
Yeah, so at age 55, if you top up your RA to say 270,000, at age 65 in your RA, you will have about 400,000. It will grow about 1.5 times. Okay, so at age 65, you will have 400,000. And then you will receive a payout of about 2,000 per month for life. Now, let's say at age 55, you didn't top it up to 270. You only put in 180.
Correct.
And so at age 65, you times 1.5 times, okay, you will have about 270 at age 65. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now, if you want to top up at age 65, you have to top it up all the way until 400 to get 2,000 for life. Does it make sense?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. Yeah, because you have to catch up with the interest that you didn't gain for the last 10 years to get the same CPF life payout. Yeah, but just to add one more layer, okay, although the enhanced retirement sum has been fixed for you at your age, every year the enhanced retirement sum actually increases by about 3%. And you can top up, you can still top up along the way. I'm sure you know this already. Yeah, you can still top up along the way. You are not limited to the enhanced retirement sum of your age.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're not limited to that. Okay.
Yeah, because every year the enhanced retirement sum goes up by 3%.
Correct. But I thought it was fixed for you at age 65. That's it. That's kept.
No. Yeah, no. So you can actually top up more and more as long as you are still eligible. You can still top up. It doesn't mean that your enhanced retirement sum for your age is 270 forever. You cannot top it up anymore. No, it's not like that.
Okay. Then can I draw my interest?
No. After 55, whatever in your RA, you cannot draw out. Okay. You can only, it will be streamed out either as CPF life or under the retirement sum scheme, a monthly payout from age 62 or 65 years old, depending on your cohort. Yeah, so you cannot just go to RA and take out whatever you want. RA cannot.
Okay.
But your OA and SA can. Your OA and SA after 55, whatever money you see in OA and SA after 55 is like cash for you. You can take out anytime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yay, thank you so much. It's better that they clarify it themselves like this. Okay, yeah. So we have this question, okay, about volunteering top up to our CPF account. You understand that once we put in once we top up, we will not be able to refund the amount, right? We cannot take it out. You were saying like it's like locking it in.
Yeah.
Christopher? Yeah.
Is that the last question in the chat?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, let me read out. I understand from CPF board that I'm not allowed to do voluntary top up of 37,740 annually.
Yes.
Okay. Not allowed to do voluntary top up. Okay, there must be a reason why they don't allow you to do the voluntary top up. Okay, because it could be that your annual contribution has already reached the 7,740. Okay, so let me explain this. There is a maximum that we can top up every year from working contribution. This is not okay. Ignore whatever I've said just now. Okay, there are two schemes to put in more money into your CPF. One is the RSTU, Retirement Sum Top-Up Scheme. Okay, RSTU allow you to put a lump sum amount into SA before 55, RA after 55. That's one scheme. The other scheme is called the Voluntary Contribution Scheme. It's not a top-up, it's called Voluntary Contribution. When you do Voluntary Contribution Scheme, you cannot choose which account you want to top up. When you contribute, they will automatically spread your money over the three accounts, OA, SA, and MA, in the allocation rate based on your age band. Okay, what is the maximum you can do this voluntary contribution? Okay, you see, every year from our normal working contribution, the most we are allowed to contribute is 37,740. That is the maximum we can contribute. So if your normal work contribution has already hit 37,740, then you cannot do voluntary contribution anymore. But if your income is low, and let's say you only contributed $17,000 from your normal working contribution, then you can go and do voluntary contribution for the difference between 37,740 and 17,000 that you receive from your working contribution. Yeah. So if CPF board says you cannot do VCS, voluntary contribution scheme anymore, it is quite likely that you have contributed 37,740 already in your normal working contribution. Okay, so that is the first part of the question. Second part is not allowed to do refund of money taken out for the purchase of property. Not allowed to do a refund of money. Okay, I'm not sure what this really means. Normally, when you buy a house using CPF money, like today, a lot of people do that. Okay, now let's say in total you have used up 100,000 from your CPF to pay for your house, and this 100,000, because all these years you did not gain the 2.5% because it's been taken out, right, from your CPF to pay for the house, right? The accrued interest, let's say, works out to be 20,000. So all in all, capital plus interest, you have taken out from CPF, your CPF OA account, 120,000. What you can do is to go to CPF board and say, I want to pump in 120,000 back into my OA. I want to return it back. You can do that. Okay, so I'm not sure whether that's exactly what it means when you say refund. Yeah, but if I'm not clear, please come through the mic. You might just want to text Joyder, and then Joyder will unmic you, and then you can ask me. That will be easier.
Hello. Yeah, I asked the question. Yeah, I have actually spoken with CPF board, and they told me that somehow maybe it's the age, I'm not sure, so I'm not allowed to do the refund. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
yes, or refund. When you say refund means pay it back into your OA, is it?
Yes, because the fixed deposit is so bad, and I'm very lousy investor, so safer to put the money in the CPF board.
Yeah. So
the maximum I can do the voluntary contribution is 37740.
Yeah,
which I did.
740. Are you still working, by the way?
No.
Oh, you're not working. Okay. So that is why you have the full 3774. Did CPF board tells you why you cannot do it? Did they explain to you?
It's just that I don't know. I fall under that scheme whereby it just not allowed to. And you can actually go onto your use of SingPass to get onto your CPF account, and it will also give you the message.
Right.
Yeah. So I spoke with them, and I went online as well.
Yeah. So thanks for letting me know that. Let me go and check out what this scheme is, and if you're interested to find actually why, do drop me an email. Yeah, but I'll check for you why. It's likely because of age. Yeah, but I'll check out that scheme that didn't allow you to do that. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Cheng Cheng and Christopher. Suddenly, there's a lot of questions asking about CPF and loan, as in the house mortgage loan. Yeah. So We have a 30 years old participant here with an upcoming mortgage. How much of my monthly CPF should I use to pay for my mortgage? And if I pay my monthly mortgage by cash, oops, it jumped a bit. Okay, by cash instead of CPF, how much of the accumulated CPF should I transfer to SA?
Yeah, thanks for that question. Okay, so this is another of those questions that I have to say, unfortunately, it really depends. Okay, and I'll give you some principle, and then you have to, based on these handles, and make that decision yourself, because there is no fixed answer. Because the downside of using cash to pay for your mortgage is that you don't have the flexibility of cash, which can be very important for you when you are 30 years old, right? Now, so one extreme case is you use 100% of your CPF. If it's enough for you, use 100% of your, okay, let me say that again. You use your CPF to pay 100% of your monthly mortgage. That's one extreme. The downside of that, of course, is that you are not maximizing your OA because you are losing 2.5% from your ordinary account because you're taking money out from your OA to pay mortgage. The other extreme is you use cash to pay 100% of your mortgage. The disadvantage with that is that you then end up with not having enough cash for emergency. You have a lot of money in your OA, but in an emergency, you can't touch your OA, right? Now, so how do you then draw the balance? The question really is, what are you doing with your cash in the bank? Now, if you have a lot of cash in your bank over and above your emergency fund and you are not investing and you don't like investing and you don't want ever to invest, which is fine, okay, then you might as well use your cash to pay part of your mortgage. Does it make sense? Yeah, because at least by using cash to pay your mortgage, you are making the 2.5%. Because your cash is attracting almost next to 0%, right? So if you are getting 0% from cash, you just might as well just use it to pay your mortgage and you gain 2.5% already because you avoid paying the interest or you avoid losing the interest of 2.5%. Yeah. So yes, if you are not doing anything with your cash, you might want to do that. But if you have got use for your cash, like you want to invest it, and if you want to keep it as emergency fund, then I'll say use your CPF instead. Okay, because from cash, you surely should be able to do more than 2.5% return if you are just 30 years old. If you are unsure, this is what I tell my sister, okay? I got a sister 10 years younger than me. Yeah. So my sister always asks me this question, you know, cash or CPF? And then my answer to her is, do what most Singaporeans do. Half long. So if your mortgage per month is $1,000, then $500 use CPF, $500 use cash lah. If you really don't know, right? Take the middle road. Then this is fine. Okay. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, can we take this last question and then you wanted to share about how CPF manage our money, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay, so one last question. Okay, if I choose CPF Life at 65 years old and half a year later, I deposit a new fund of 60K in my RA account so that I could have additional monthly payout besides the monthly payout from CPF Life. And then
sorry, can you read again? I was distracted by the question.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I choose CPF Life at 65 and half a year later, I deposit new fund of 60K in my RA account so that I could have additional monthly payout beside the monthly payout from CPF Life. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And then please note that this 60K is not to be added to my original CPF Life that I took at age 65 years old. My question, will I still be able to receive the 6% for the first 30K and 5% for the second 30K?
But you can't do that. I mean, when you top up your money into your RA, if you're under CPF Life, you cannot tell CPF board, don't mix. I want my 60K to be separate from my CPF life payout. CPF board won't do it for you, right? So when you top up at 65 or 67 or 68 years old, and if you are under the CPF life scheme, your CPF life monthly payout will just increase. That's how it is. Yeah, so you don't really have a choice to decide whether how you want the payout to be. CPF board will not customize it for you per se. Yeah. So is there a second question, a second part, right, to the question, right?
No, that's the only question from
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Before Chris continue to share, right? Actually, in fact, we didn't really answer all the questions that we have received. Probably this is what we will do. I'm not very sure, Christopher. Is it okay that I consolidate all the questions again, so
Yeah.
that I can pass it to you, and we can see how we can send it out as a FAQ to the rest of them?
Okay.
What do you think? Is it okay?
Can. There
Yeah.
is also, let me just say this. If you go to my company website, okay, because we've conducted quite a number of these sessions before, and we always get pretty similar questions. So if I'm not wrong, my company website, we consolidated like the 40 frequently asked questions. So if
Wow.
you want, you can also go and take a look at those 40 questions and see whether it answers your question, the question that you have, okay? So the company website is www.providend.com. Okay, and if I show you how to find it, okay, if I share screen, okay, you will see on the website, okay, this is the website, okay, and you'll see this thing called insights lah. Okay, and if you click inside, you can click blog, okay, and then there is a search button. You can just type CPF, okay, and then you see there will be all the things that we talk about CPF, 10 important aspects about your CPF RA. Oops, let me go back. Okay, 10 important aspects about your CPF. And this is the one, frequently asked question about CPF. Okay, and then there are others, how to make the most, I think this is a video. Yeah, so the purpose of CPF, separating fact from, many of these are my old articles that I've written years ago. So it may answer especially the FAQ. Yeah, it may just answer your question. Okay, let me stop share. Okay, but otherwise, yes, Jordan, you can also consolidate the question and send it to me. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so you were wanting to share something with every one of us, right?
Yes. Okay, give me a minute.
Sure.
Let me move to the slide. Okay. Okay, so I thought it's important for us to understand how our monies are managed at CPF. Okay, because whilst we kept saying that CPF is good, and all that, there are some caveats, and in my session under CPF, I also mentioned that there are some policy risks. Definitely, there will be some policy risks. But let's take a look at what these policy risks are. Okay, so let me share screen. Okay, so what do our CPF monies invest in? How are they being invested? And if you remember in 2014, there's this big hoo-ha about some Singaporeans asking the government to return their CPF because the government has been losing money investing our CPF, and some say that our CPF monies are being invested by Temasek, by GIC, and all that. Okay, so officially, our CPF monies, they are not invested by Temasek. Temasek has no CPF money at all. Okay, our monies in CPF is only being invested by GIC, okay, the Government Investment Corporation. So this is actually what happened. So this is CPF board, okay, and employer and employee, your employer and you will contribute into your monthly contribution and you put it with CPF board. Now, CPF board has an arrangement with our government represented by the Ministry of Finance. Okay, So what CPF board and MOF does is this. Okay, so CPF board actually, technically speaking, lend the money to our government. Okay, when you lend money to the government, you are effectively buying a bond. Okay, because bond is a debt instrument. Bond is an IOU. So CPF board, okay, take our money that has been contributed by our employer and ourselves. Imagine this, they walk to the Ministry of Finance and they say, nah, I lend you $1 billion, for example. Yeah, by the way, like almost 100 billion of money in our CPF. Yeah, so, but let me just use 1 billion. So CPF board, this officer carry $1 billion worth of cash and walk to Ministry of Finance and say, nah, I lend you $1 billion. And then the government says, okay, I write an IOU for you. And then the IOU has a name. The IOU is called SSGS, Singapore, rather Special Singapore Government Securities. It is special because this particular bond contract is not traded in the bond exchange. This is a private arrangement between CPF board and the government. Okay, it's a private IOU, not traded. This IOU, this bond is not traded out there in the bond exchange. And what does this bond contract say? This bond contract simply says this: I, the Singapore government, represented by Ministry of Finance, sumpah that this $1 billion that you give to me, $400 million came from the OA. I sumpah, I promise to pay you 2.5% per year. Whereas the rest of the 600 million, it came from special MediSave retirement account. I promise you that I will pay you 10-year SGS plus 1 or 4%, whichever is higher. Okay, for now it's 4%. Okay, so these are the promises in this IOU. Now, if I want to end my explanation here, I can end here, because actually, if people ask you, so our CPF money go where? Actually, this is the answer. Our CPF monies are lent to the government in exchange for a contract that pays us 2.5% for OA and 4% from SMRA. Actually, that ends already. Okay, actually, that's all we need to know. However, I will take one more step further and say, now the MOF officer, now he has got 2 bags of money amounting to $1 billion. Now he's stressed like mad. Okay, why is he stressed? Because every year he has to pay 2.5% to 4% interest. So he's stressed. He needs to make money from this 1 billion to pay the 2.5 to 4%, right? So now he kicked the can down the road. He is going to walk across the road, okay, and he is going to go to MAS, okay, and give the money to MAS. Okay, you can see this is the proceeds from the SSGS, which is this contract. Okay, this contract. Ignore this SGS. This SGS is the same version of the SSGS, just that it is traded in the public exchange. Ignore it, okay? Ignore it. Just know that now this government officer, he's carrying these 2 bags of $1 billion cash, which is the SSGS money, the proceeds, and he will walk over and he will give to the MAS officer and say, I'm going to give you this money. I don't want it because I'm liable to pay this 2.5%. You help me solve this problem. MAS will then convert these to foreign assets or foreign currencies. And after the conversion, they will transfer it to now the fund manager, because the MAS job is not to invest it. The MAS job is to transfer it to, let's say, a foreign currency, let's say a US dollar. Okay, and then MAS say, nah, he walks over with that whole bag of $1 billion, okay, now in a foreign currency, and he goes to GIC, which is the government fund manager, and say, hey guys, I don't care. You better return 2.5 or 4.5%, okay? Otherwise, our friend at MOF will have problem. So now GIC, the manager, stressed. They now receive the $1 billion worth of money in foreign currency and they invest it. Okay. Now, every year, okay, based on the investment return, GIC will then have to pay back 2.5% or 4%, depending on which tranche, back to MOF, so that the MOF officer will receive these proceeds or this interest and then return back to CPF board. His stress is over. Okay, now ignore all this government net asset, and all that. Okay, so CPF is one of the best investment instruments for us to accumulate towards our retirement. The returns are high, almost risk-free. Returns are guaranteed, yes. capital is guaranteed, yes, but it is only possible because there is a kelong arrangement between the Singapore government and CPF board. Okay, and the Singapore government is MOF. The kelong is in that SSGS contract. Okay, but this thing cannot go on. Okay, because, or rather, not that this thing cannot go on. Okay, this thing can only happen if the policy risk doesn't happen. What is this policy risk? This policy risk, and let me unshare now, okay, because I do want to see all of you. This policy is this. This policy risk is if GIC underperforms, right? Because if GIC cannot return at least 4.5% in Sing dollar terms, or rather 4% in Sing dollar terms, then this 4% guarantee cannot go on. Make sense, right? Yeah. So far, over a 20-year period, okay, 20-year period, it's actually more strict, more accurate to say 20 years rolling return, but it's too technical. Just take it as over the last 20 years, okay, GIC in Sing dollar terms has been returning slightly above 5%. So we are fine. We are safe. Okay, is there a risk that GIC cannot return that 5%? There is always a risk. Okay, and when that risk happens, it is very likely that our special account might not get 4% anymore. Maybe it will go down to 3.5, 3.7, 3.8%, whatever. Yeah. Now, as long as we can accept this little risk that it might not be 4%, then feel free to go and top up. But if you don't like, you don't know this uncertainty, then please, if you really want to top up, you top up with your eyes open. Because this 4% guarantee is a yearly renewable thing. Those of you who have attended my session will know this. Yeah, this 4% guarantee, the government will announce it every year to say to tell you whether it is still guaranteed or not. There might come a year that they will not guarantee this because GIC can no longer deliver. And it's not that GIC is lousy, it's just that generally speaking, the investment return from the stock market has been dropping. Okay, and it has been dropping for the last 20 years already. Yeah. So that's the story of where our monies are being invested. I hope that gives you some clarity. Okay, so Joyda, I'm done. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Christopher, for clarifying this part. Yeah, let me share my screen now. Yeah, so it has been a really amazing learning journey for me. Learning about CPF, and learning about the other aspects of financial stewardship. And I believe it's the same for you as well. So perhaps you will want to share in the chat while I'm going through this announcement, your learning point or reflection for this whole series that you have been through with us. And then you can type it in the chat room. So applying what we have learned from previously, the previous sessions as well, about setting aside a generosity fund, support the Bible Society of Singapore's Bible mission to make God's word known locally and globally. So scan the QR code on the screen with PayNow app or visit our website at www.donorbox.org/missions support fund to donate. So I'll say that again, www.donorbox.org/mission support fund to donate via other payment option. Please also do put down the comment of FS2 to inform us of your kind donation. And your feedback is very important to us. Help us also to improve on our training programs by giving us your feedback through the QR code that is shown on the screen or link shown on the screen as well. So that is all for the announcement. Okay. Stop share. Okay, so to close today's session, may we invite Reverend Chia Beng-Hok, member of the Executive Committee of Bible Society of Singapore, to lead us in the closing prayer. Reverend Chia, please.
Thank you, Joyda. Well, thank you, Christopher, for very insightful sessions. I think, I benefited a lot from your sessions. All right, thank you. So let's pray. Our Father, we want to thank you for your love, your goodness that you pour out upon us. We are truly, Lord, blessed even in this land of Singapore. Our government has even come up with such a scheme to help us even to prepare for retirement. Lord, we are thankful to you for all this insight that we have. Lord, even to understand how the CPF money is being invested. And we pray, Father, that you continue to bless those who are investing the money for CPF with the wisdom and your favor. The Lord, every year they are able to plow back the interest even to the people. We pray especially, oh God, for those who are retiring and they're not sufficient in their funding. Lord, that they will also enable them, Lord, to manage their fund well, Lord. Father, we thank you for all this insight that we have that we do not take for granted, but we ask for your blessing and favor upon our CPF board and those who are managing this fund. Lord, thank you for Brother Christopher and his team, Lord, who have taken time to share with us. I pray, Father, you continue to bless them with your wisdom and your guidance. Lord, even as they help people to manage their funds, I pray that you will guide them. Lord, truly, you are God who make us stewards of the finance that you've blessed to us. And we are thankful to you for raising up men and women with such wisdom and insight to guide us. So, Father, thank you for Brother Christopher and the team. And Lord, we are thankful to you for the sessions that we have enjoyed. Help us, oh God, to apply them even in our own way, Lord, to manage the finance you have given us, and also that we can share with others so that they too will learn to be good steward in managing their finance. Father, thank you. We commit this whole afternoon to you, prepare our hearts even for tomorrow's services, and give us wonderful time in your presence as we worship you. Thank you. I ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.